We are live.
Ding dong. All right. Hello, everybody, and happy Tuesday. We are here with WGSN-DB Going Solo Network Radio, TV, and podcast #1 internet talk show network. My name is Elana, and today we are doing a show called Embracing Movement with the one, the only Coach Arnie. Woo! Come on down. The price is right.
Darn right. And movement is free.
It is. It's
It's
actually
free.
for free. They're not charging.
The most powerful pill possibility in the universe, if it was a pill, is free. It's just move. It's
I
that
love
simple.
it.
How's that?
Can you share with everybody kind of who you are and kind of what you
Man,
do?
how much time do you have, Elaine? How much time do you
I got all the time you need.
have? I've been in this game for over 40 years. Um, I think I was 2 when I started. So over 40 years, I've been studying movement, coaching young men, competing in athletics. I still compete to this day.
Yeah.
Actually, last year, well, a little over a year ago, I was the first 60-year-old to complete what's called an R5 at the Grand Canyon, which is, and I just looked at before I got on here, somebody posted that they did an R3, which is a rim to rim to rim at the Grand Canyon. And technically, it's not supposed to be allowed right now because there's been some heavy snow and ice there. And so and it was a young lady. And so all I had time to post was share details because we all want to know and how she did it. And if she did do it, and it was kind of interesting. But so between 40 some years ago to today, I'm still moving. I'm still working with people on how to move better, how to break bad patterns, and how to create new patterns, which we can do our whole lives we can learn to do anyways until they are throwing dirt on top of us at the end. Okay, and if you're not doing that, if you're not open to doing that, Elena, and I know that you work with some older folks as well. If you're not open to doing that, you're gonna have a tough time. And
Yeah.
that goes for not just people my age, older than me, your age, younger than you. They're just going to have a tough time. And because people that are in pain, people
Mhm.
that are experiencing difficulty in life through could be movement, could be other things as well, mental and emotional things, spiritual things, and physical things, just struggle. And a lot of that can be overcome
Mhm.
with the willingness, and that's the thing. What are you willing to do? The willingness. Oh, the willingness. I was just checking a note. The
Okay.
willingness to change. Are we willing to change? And so I help people that made a decision to change. And so I help them with movement patterns because one more thing before, like I said, I want to know how much time you had. I did neuro rehab for about 30 years, and I
Wow.
still have some clients that have, and I started off with dementia, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's. Um, did much of that for quite a number of years. And then I got into traumatic brain injuries,
Mhm.
um, all different levels, all the way up to what I call level 4 with behavior, which is the hardest ones to work with.
Yeah.
Spinal cord injuries, quadriplegia, paraplegia, all different kinds of paralysis, anything you can imagine, autism, anything neurological. I was able to, and anything I was able to do. It never scared me. I had therapists, physical therapists, and others that things would come into the office and they'd look at me with that deer in the headlight look. It's like, oh my God, what are we supposed to do? I already had seen stuff like that or worse, so it didn't bother me. So that was the kind of the world I lived for a long time, Elena. So getting into the pain world doesn't bother me at all.
So what kind of, I like to kind of brief on a couple of things. I really liked how what you were saying is that you have to be open and that you truly can't just be like, I want help and not wanting to receive it. So I think the first initial step for me with my clients and my people and who I work with is they have to show up and not show up for anybody else but themselves. And I really like, you have to be open to it. So with all this, what inspired you to go that deep and you know, and have you dig into different areas, not just this brain, not just this, not just that, to turn into the pain? Like what's a little bit of your story? Where did you come?
Oh man, you know, that's crazy because like I said, I was an athlete. I got hurt. I had a serious knee injury when I was in high school, my senior year. I was the captain of the football team, the big star. Woo-hoo. And looking to go to college and play football and baseball and all those things. And all those things were just shattered because of a very serious knee injury. And back in the 70s, the rehabilitation of a knee injury was not what it is today at all. And so I had a great doctor, saved my knee, but I wasn't able to compete for a couple of years because I had a limited range of motion and all the things. But I was always interested in, at first I wanted to go into medicine, and then I was, you know, I've always wanted to coach. And I had the opportunity to be a fireman, a physical therapist, or a teacher. They all paid about the same back then, back in the late 70s. They all paid about the same. Physical therapy, it was kind of a new thing. A fireman, all my friends and people that I really respect a lot were firemen. You know, and I came from a pretty middle class, low middle class family that, you know, I wouldn't know what a lot of money was anyways back then. And it wasn't about that. It was about but I want to coach. With teaching was the only thing that allowed me to coach, because back in the late 70s, if you weren't a teacher at the campus, you weren't going to be a coach. They didn't bring in private coaches and all these things that they do today. It just wasn't available. So I became a teacher, and that's kind of where it started. And then probably 7 years later, I got so frustrated with the whole teaching thing and the coaching thing. There were no opportunities. And one day I was driving on a bus coaching a freshman team. I'd never coached freshmen in my life. And I taught them, but I never I was a varsity coach. Wow. From my second year on. And I was driving home. I was looking out the window. I'm going, you're going backwards, man. You're not making any progress. And, you know, you just got married. You got kids. This is not looking good. And so I said, I'm going to school. And I went to, I signed up the next day with the hardest class possible at ASU. And ASU at the time had one of the,
what school
ASU,
did you?
Arizona State University. Oh, you're a U of A. We just beat you though.
Hey, Wildcats! I want to give a shout out.
Did you know? Did you check the scores? I asked my
I agree, Arnie. I'll give you that. I will get that. Was
I talked to my Wildcat buddy yesterday. He goes, yeah, but that's going to be good for them. They needed that. I go, whatever.
We did. You know, you're talking about that. I think coaching and doing and showing up. Sometimes I think we get a little cocky and we think we already have it. So to be a little bit more humble, I feel like U of A could have been.
You will be in the tournament and we won't. That's all good.
Exactly.
Believe me, I'm not a rabid Devil fan at all. So, but I have to poke a little bit.
Yes, right. Of course, there's fun little bands.
I jumped into the hardest course possible at the time. And I didn't know what I was doing. I had no idea how to use a computer. I had no idea how to do anything.
Right.
And I remember my instructor came up to me, because you better figure this out fast or you're not going to make it. And here I was married. It was like, man, whoa. And probably not even a year later, Elana, a guy, I just reached out to him the other night, last weekend. He works for Life Stairmaster back in the day. I think he still works for them. He was a doctor. So my guy left, and then this guy took over my plan, and he encouraged me he showed me this article about old people lifting cans of soup. And I go, what is this? And he goes, I'm going to be a strength coach. I'm going to work in the NFL, you know, blah, blah, blah. Right. He goes, I just want to show you this might be an idea for a study to do. And I go, I'm not going to work with old people. This is dumb. And seriously. And so I literally prayed about it. He goes, just think about it. And I prayed about it. And I thought, why not? So I became one of the renowned researchers in that field with older people because it was brand new. No one
So
was
what made
doing
you like change of that, like to have that stigma? Because it's funny, because growing up, I was called grandma. Like I feel like I'm an old soul with a young heart, and
Not
I've always.
really. That wasn't me. I was coaching kids. I was coaching young people. That's all I did. I was coaching athletes.
What made you have
I
that
don't
change
know.
of heart to see, like,
I have
I'm
no
gonna.
idea. It was a God. It was totally a God thing. I have no idea. Honestly, I had no idea.
Yeah,
I never worked with senior citizens. I never did anything like that. Nothing.
I
Now I'm
think
known as that guy.
as I think like as the senior whisperer.
Maybe, but here's the thing. Here, this is the difference though. I treated a 90-year-old the same way I treated a 20-year-old.
Right. You have to. They want to be
No,
treated.
well, you don't have to, because most of them don't. Most of them treat a 90-year-old like a 2-year-old.
Well, I guess that's where you and I agree. Like you and I get
We
along on
do.
that and understand, because I view it like that. I said age is only a number, and if you treat them like that and talk down, they just want to be acknowledged. They want to have someone show up and see them, because I think so many times in this world we look at them like, you're old, you can't do, and we put them in a box. And I think putting them in this
Oh yeah.
box, it's so hard for me, because I love the seniors. I see it differently.
Right.
But it's easy, because to me, okay, 55 is technically senior, to an
It
extent.
is. That's when I first started.
Yeah.
It was
And I
55.
remember my parents, like, they were so, like, my mom was kind of like, but my dad was like, we get discounts on the movies and this, and that excitement. And I think it's like what you want to put in and what you're around. But then for me, when I think of senior, I think old, like 90s, like my grandma's 95. Like, to me, that is like a very beautiful senior woman. That's what I think, to me.
It is.
Like,
They're freaks. I call them freaks.
I agree. I couldn't agree more.
No,
Like,
they are. They're special. They're very special people, and we have a lot to learn from them. And but it's kind of like the old adage, Elana, that I learned many, many years ago. I call it the racehorse theory. I call it put a 10 on everybody's forehead and treat them like they're a 10, and you'll be surprised what you
I
get.
like that. I really
Yeah,
like that.
whatever. You have it all. So if you treat people, look, we've all heard of the golden rule, right?
Mm-hmm.
I've been talking about what's called the platinum rule for a long time. Treat everybody the way they want to be treated.
Oh, okay.
Right, because we're all different. Somebody
Right.
may come to me and treat, love language, all that stuff. I have a different love language than you, maybe.
What is yours?
And we all have different personalities. So even when I bring up men and women, I actually, one of my clients today was my counselor, my marriage counselor 20 some years ago. And so he shared with me some insight the other night. We were talking about men and women. He goes, no, Arnie, it's not about men and women. It's about personalities. It's about personalities, who they are. He teaches, I do DISC, he does another one. But so if you're a direct person and you're an indirect person, or you're a slow and steady person, or you're blah, 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 whatever person you are, that's why you do what you do. Get it? And if I treat you different than you are, you're going to resent me. You're going to resist me first. You're going to resist me. Then you're going to resent me if I keep pushing you. And then you're going to reject me. And then you're just going to ignore me, which is called repression. Those are the 4 R's. But so people will do that in general. And an older person, an 80-year-old or a 70-year-old or a 90-year-old, if their exercise instructor comes in and treats them like that, at first they'll kind of resist it. And then if they keep showing up because they want to show up to their class, then they'll kind of resent it. And then at some point they'll reject and won't show up as much. And at some point you won't ever see them again.
Yeah. I
Which
really
is
like that.
sad because that's why 90% of the people in line, forgive me for cutting you off,
There you go.
90% of the people do not show up to exercise classes.
Mhm. I really like that you say that too. And I think that's where we agree on a lot of things too, is in my class, and I've learned too, kind of a few other things. I have some learning disabilities, and I think it's all how you show up and teach. So many times they think I wasn't doing something or she doesn't get it. But I was like, no, you didn't teach how I understand. You didn't show up the way, if you say 2 + 2 and throw that at my face, it's going to be different. If you show me 2 minutes, this plus this equals this, and I see this, aha, I got it. So what I like, exactly, it's not treat people how you want to be treated. I love it. Treat how they want to be treated, because
Exactly.
you're so right. And that's why I think I do so well with my seniors is I cater towards them. I give modifications. I say to show up, even for instance, today I did a pop-up chair yoga, and I said, you do you and what is good for you. Because up here,
may I interrupt? What is a pop-up chair yoga?
So a pop-up chair yoga is a pop-up where I come to a community, like maybe a senior home or someone's house, and I do a chair yoga class, and I call it a pop-up because it's not a continuous thing, but it's something that I can come in and do a couple classes per month for them and honor them that way. So today I was able to do, because they're all in their homes and they're just sitting there. A lot of these places just pop in videos and just shove them away. But today I had over 20 people, half of them in a wheelchair, who came and showed up for themselves. And that's what I loved, is like,
you mean like a video like this? You don't have yours?
Not, I have a YouTube. I do have videos of myself on a YouTube.
This is the one they're supposed to be putting into their little players, if they still have it.
Oh, the one. Yes, that one.
You don't have yours yet?
I'm going to have to get one from you.
Let me tell you a story. As you're an exercise person, which is good.
Yes.
But 30 years ago, when I started to market that, probably 10 years later, a lot of instructors were getting themselves in trouble because people enjoyed it so well that all they had to do is put it in there, and they could put it in themselves, even into the main thing, and do the exercise. And so some of the management of some of these places would say, no, you're going to teach the classes. You can't just play a video, even though it was my video. And it was weird, Elana. For years, I would get calls from all over the country, Canada, because people were playing my freaking video. It's like, oh my! I was like I was a rock star with senior
you're
citizens.
A celebrity.
I was a celebrity with seniors. I would get these calls. I would get people breaking these things because they were wearing them out.
They probably want to know too if you're married or not, or they're probably
all
like,
that stuff. And when I would answer the phone, they go, "Wait a minute, is this Arnie?" I go, "Yeah." Why? Oh my God, it's you? Yeah. And I did some things in Canada with some simulcast stuff and techie stuff, but it was weird. I mean, I did a thing where one of the ladies that was on here, her daughter actually was in a retirement center. That's how old this is. And then she was doing the video at another retirement center.
Oh my God. Well, I'm the live one. I go in live so they don't have to pop.
I'm just teasing you.
No, I know.
So don't make fun of all the videos, just some of them, most of them.
Well, I'm going to need to get one of your videos, and you're going to have to autograph it.
I'll send it to you.
Okay.
I will autograph it.
Okay. We're kind of having some technical problems right now, but stay with us, everybody. We're still.
Am I freezing? Who's freezing?
I don't know right now.
It looks good to me on my end.
It's good on my end right now too.
And
we're almost out of break time, everybody. So maybe we should we go ahead and take a break, Cece? Because we're almost at our break point. All right, everybody, we're gonna go ahead and take a break right now. We're with Coach Arnie, pain-free Coach Arnie, 90-day get long and strong system, 602-390-9144. I'm Elana with your healthy vibes at ef11ca@gmail.com. Also yourhealthvibes.com. And my phone number is area code 562-235-8410. You're with Going Solo Media.com and WGSN-DB Going Solo Network TV and podcast #1 internet talk show. We will be back. Don't go too far. As I said, get up, do some stretch, shake what your mama gave you, and we'll be right back. Hi.
Cool.
Hi, I'm John Thomas. I want to share with you a professional products and services directory we call Going Solo Directory. And you need to check this out. If you want exposure to your business or are seeking professional product or services, this directory has it all. And that membership, for the many special features, you get the benefit of a worldwide exposure with a 40-minute video interview on an international business show showcase. All this for just one low annual fee. For more information, contact GoingSoloDirectory.com.
Well, hello, everybody. We're back with WGSN-DB Going Solo Network Radio, TV and podcast, #1 internet talk network. I'm your host, Elana, with your health vibes with the one and only Elana. And we are here today with the one and only Coach Arnie. Pain-free Coach Arnie, 90-day get long and strong system. Welcome back, Arnie. And our topic today is embracing movement. So,
Yeah, we haven't talked much about that.
No, we've just been talking away.
Talking about everything else. No, it's all good. Well, we've been talking about older folks, which you and I both have. That's kind of our connecting rhythm there, because it's one, we're all going to get there at some point, and
exactly.
Hopefully. and you and I have figured out that they're a very special group of people that respond to the same things that younger people do: encouragement and love and movement, good nutrition, all the same things that young people need, infants need, they need. And so the problem is you've probably found, and I have over the many years, is that and I want to share back that story I was going to tell you about my mentor, but
I want to talk about that.
We need to focus on the fact that we can't let go of how important exercise is and nutrition is for older folks. I mean, especially those that didn't pay the price early on, because they can still make up a lot of ground at the end if they are willing, like I said earlier, to make some change. But what I was going to share was my mentor. He worked for Stairmaster, and he messaged me on Facebook because he'd been watching my stuff, and I thanked him. I had never thanked him since in the late 80s, and he was just very complimentary of what I was doing, and I said, well, it's because of you. And he's the one who handed me the article.
And I love that you say that. So I think that's a really good topic to kind of brief on a little bit, because we are talking about movement, but movement is life and flowing and things like that. And also, I think asking for help and what you said, showing up.
Yep.
And with this, I think too, in movement and stuff of doing things, is the role reversal of, I really like, I don't know if you want to brief on a little bit more your story of sharing how your mentor, now you're mentoring and having the role reversal and asking help and being okay with that.
Yeah, he's probably my first gentleman you're talking about. He's 82 years old. And when I was 15, he became my coach, my strength coach. Back then, no one even heard about that. But I was just finishing up my sophomore year and ran into this guy, and he kind of took me and a bunch of other guys under his wing, and I just kind of hung with him because I wanted to learn. I didn't have a great situation at home, and so this guy was like my dad. And I spent a lot of my high school years at his home with his younger boys who are like my little brothers today. And so fast forward almost 50 years, and now he needs help. And so I kind of stepped into it. I kind of stepped into it a couple of years ago and said, hey, look, would you be willing to try some things? And he said, yeah, because he was hurting. His wife had died, and one of his sons wasn't doing well, and COVID had hit, and just his kind of world was crumbling, and I was just working on stuff, and I had tried before with him, Elana, and didn't get good feedback from the other son. And I thought, I'm not going to do this. And so, but he said he agreed again. And this time it went a little better. And, the rest is kind of history. He continues to improve. There's a lot of things that still need to happen because there's a lot of things in his life that I don't. Actually, before this show, I called because he didn't show up today. He never misses.
Okay.
Yeah. And it went to his answering machine, which I thought was, okay, that's a little weird. So I'll check with him later, but I haven't heard anything from his son. So I'm assuming it's okay.
Right.
We don't know, right? Isn't that what you and I deal with all the time?
Yeah, I mean, it really is because
if somebody doesn't show up to one of your classes, what's the first thing you think about?
It causes like a heart attack. Not that, and I'm sorry not to say it like that.
Well, you think about it.
It worries me because I think here it is. You and I have that compassion. It's more than compassion. It's that empathy. And we show up, and they're not only someone coming to us. They're not this. And you're not just a member. You are a person in your life. And like, that gets emotional for me too, because it's like, they didn't show up. And it's like, oh, your first thought, like, are they okay? Did they pass away? Like, what's wrong? And you just want so much for them. And I think that's where you and I get along so well, is that it's more than the money. It's more than showing up at that. It's being there and showing like you believe in them. And because so many times when they get older, they get put in a house.
Well, because their own families don't do that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like the son, or like what's the resistance of how many times I get in tiffs with these family members because I'm like, they're your parents showing up and they're so selfish. Well, they can't work out because I want them to take care of my child, or I want them to do this, or they're doing so much more than realizing what you said. They're not treat them how they want to be treated, not how you do. And
most of them, if you're going to their homes, it's different, but most of them that you run into at these retirement resorts, they're angry anyways.
Yes.
Because they don't want to be there.
Because they're forced, they feel abandoned, no one cares. And then that's where I love to come in. That's why I love doing this, like today, giving someone a hug, acknowledging them, saying, I'm proud of you that you came and you showed up and I see you, even though you don't want to be here.
But the scary part, and I did this for so long, and so God bless you for what you're doing, where I had, 80% of my business was with these folks and driving all over the valley here before freeways were around, and knowing that I actually, and I'm gonna get a little morbid here, but I actually stopped going to funerals unless I kind of made a rule that unless I was going to say something, in which meant
I feel you on that. I've been to so many throughout
if the person made enough of an impact on me, I would show up, and I would just stand up and say something, or I'd go to the podium or something, because they made an impact on my life because, I used to do a lot of talks, and that's what I was doing for a while when I closed my last clinic. But it's kind of again, I guess I've earned the right to joke about it, but why does an 85-year-old man die alone in Sun City, Arizona?
I know where that is.
Why? Because they do. A lot of them do, but you know why? Because they didn't do anything. They didn't do anything.
Sure, I agree.
They didn't impact anybody.
Yeah. And I feel you. And I think it's hard because I feel like I was put on this earth like you were. This is my contract that I asked for. I work with cancer patients as well and seniors, two of the hardest populations because, during the pandemic, I've lost so many people. But it's exactly like showing up like and giving that memory or like reaching out to someone to say like, hey, they're like, oh, I know you. They talked about you. They told me that you helped them get out of their chair. They told me that you helped them get out of their depression. It's just taking that one person to say, I see you. I show up for you.
Encouragement is powerful. Well, it's kind of like that movie. Did you ever see that movie? I can't remember the name of it. What's her name? Oh gosh. She's a daughter of oh my goodness, I can't believe I can't come up with it. Either way, she was she's in her 70s now, but she played kind of a grumpy old lady. She's beautiful. She's beautiful, but it'll come to me. And something was happening in her life, but she didn't have a purpose. She didn't have a reason for being there, and she had lots of money. And I forgot what created this thing, but she basically had to go out and start impacting people and making an impact in her community. And she didn't know how to do it. She didn't know how to be nice to people. She didn't know how to reach out. And, where you and I are the same here is, honestly, Elana, most people aren't going to do what you and I do. Because if somebody is grumpy and nasty, because that's just who they are. Yeah. Most people are going to walk away from that.
Right. And
where you and I might try to figure out a way to kind of crack through that.
I think it's putting yourself in the shoes because I look at it. Here it is, not to fully relate. I've been in 3 major car accidents. So I can't do everything. When someone looks at me, I'm going to be 42. They're like, oh, she can do it, this and that. Here it is. A lot of times the seniors are grumpy because mentally they're still with it. They know they can do it. However, their bodies aren't where their mental capacity is. So they can't reach that way for me. So that's why I give these modifications. That's why I do this. And that's why people, I think, really like me because I see the other side. I'm not going to just come in and be like, everybody's going to do it because I can do it this way. Of what you said, it's how
you have
for everyone else.
Empathy. I call it when I was doing a lot of brain injury work. And this is before my own son got hurt. So he's actually doing stuff with me. But I learned something, and it's empathy, obviously, but I learned something called hand in glove. Because most people that have a traumatic brain injury, they don't cognitively, they may be all there, but they can't communicate it to you because of what they call aphasia. They can't speak it or whatever. But they might be able to hear you, but they just don't know how to respond.
Articulate what.
So most people are just going to ignore them. So what happens in therapy a lot of times, the therapist may get in front of them and wave their finger. Okay, you're going to do this, then you're going to do this, then you're going to do this, and it doesn't work. And so because they get frustrated or the speech pattern is too fast for them for their response back, and it just creates a cascading of bad things. Until they finally just shut it down. So what I learned how to do is as you're doing with your seniors, Elana, is come up behind them, kind of crawl inside their body. Okay. Look out into the world through their eyes. See the world that they see, not because you're going to agree with it.
Right, exactly. I like that you say that.
But you're gonna understand it because we all want to be understood.
100%
and encouraged, and then encouraged. Because if we can see what they're seeing, now we can help them and guide them in a place that will help them to be better.
Right. And I like to say that God.
Yeah.
Because I'm a guide. That's what I kind of do. I said, I'm not an expert. Not like a guide. And I love that you use that word, is guiding them to what is right for them and their path and their journey and what is good for them. Because exactly what you may be able to do and I'm telling you to do, I can't, and vice versa. So I think exactly just showing up, guiding them what is right. And, speaking of like movement, because there's all types of movement, for movement from this is a movement to walking to your car is a movement to cleaning your house to putting on a song. So what are some of like your favorite movements of like, people just feel so stuck or I am at a loss and I can't do where is movement coming in that you can give some special movements or advice on?
Well, yeah, that's a good one. Because especially right now, what I'm doing with pain, because even really good movements that you and I might think are great movements, somebody that's dealing with knee pain or back pain or hip pain, foot pain, it may not be right for them.
Right.
So really it's all comes down to what they can do. The first one that comes to my head is getting out of a chair. But a lot of seniors, a lot of people in general that have knee pain, guess what? They can't get out of a chair.
Nope.
So you have to help them. And even walking. The foundation of my program is, Elana, is walking backwards. Why?
I love that. Can you tell more about that?
Because people that walk forward in pain, 99.99% of the time can walk backwards without pain. And it gives them encouragement that they can move in a pattern that doesn't hurt. And it's
do something uncomfortable. That's not normal. People think, walking backwards, like their brain doesn't process that. So
it's right. And it's a healing pattern too.
Yeah.
But it's actually working the brain too. It's actually a mental stimulant for the brain because it's like doing things with your left hand if you're right-handed. It stimulates the brain to grow. And so walking back, doing things in reverse, walking upstairs backwards, doing things in reverse will help them to start the healing process. And now the problem is that most places, especially therapy places or exercise, aren't going to do these kinds of things because it's not normal. Some might consider it dangerous. That's fine. But there's things we can do. I have people and you may have seen some of my videos. We have an old treadmill that somebody brought. Actually, I think it's the guy, my coach's, and I couldn't figure out I knew what I wanted to do with it if I could get it running. But now we do what's called dead milling on it. So I have people, but because it's set at an angle because it's broken.
Gotcha.
So I have people come in and I have them get on there as part of their warm up or finishing up their workout to dead mill on it. And it's hard. It's not easy. It's work. And so there's so many ways that we can figure out what people need if we're willing to change ourselves. If I'm an exercise instructor and if I'm teaching things today, Elana, that 10 years ago I would have called you completely crazy. if you wanted me to teach, I'll be honest with you. No, I'm being really honest with you. Because it wasn't being taught at all.
Why don't you think it was being taught? Or like, I mean, I know the research and things like that, but why do you think there was such a big difference?
No, I don't know. I wish I knew that. That's a great question. I don't know. Because I was the guy always trying different things. I was way out in front, so far in front that it didn't really do me any good, except I was the oddball. I'm the guy partying with my friends that were in therapy going, you still working with all those old people? My grandma would even say it. My grandma would say, why are you still working with all those old ladies?
And I just love it. Like there's something about it. I just feel.
You there?
Oh, sorry. It cut out a little bit. Now it's back. So yeah, I just feel like compelled, like, I don't know. I love the seniors. I love the energy. You learn so much. And just knowing, my grandma's 95 and she always said, I wish I had someone like you, because in her generation, they didn't really talk about stuff. They didn't really do things and to show up for each other and the exercise. They didn't really exercise, and what's exercise, or, it's different, certain things of what it is. And, now I'm so glad that she is where she's at because she exercised. She still has a balance guy come, I teach a balance stability class, which I think is incredible because we, even at my age, I trip and fall and watching and not being present. We're always on our phone. We're always looking down.
Let me share another story with you that you'll probably be able to relate to at some point. Maybe not now, but at some point. People have been asking me a lot, and I've been saying this for years, but now lately they've been saying it to me. Hey, Coach Arnie, what are you going to do when you're 80? I go, I'm looking.
I'll be there for you. I'll be there for you.
I'm looking for me because I'm going to have somebody. I'm going to have somebody because it's super important to continue this. I'm probably you've run into people, you've worked with people over 100, but as I have, and it's amazing. The people I've worked with that were over 100 did incredibly well.
Oh, amazing.
With exercise. Unbelievable.
Like better than some other ones. Like I had a lady in my class, 101 took
I got somebody out of the care area of a place, really nice place. And his whole goal was I need to be able to walk out of here and walk back to my room. I said, well, let's do it. And it took us a few months, but he did it and the program ended.
Oh, that makes me so happy.
But that was what he wanted to do. So at 101,
he wanted to do it.
He wanted to do it at 101. He was able to get stronger, and he was able to. And that's kind of like the whole thing with what my longer and stronger program is. It's like if you get those joints to have more mobility, okay, and you get the muscles stronger in that new mobility, because some people struggle with range of motion. Instead of spending a bunch of time on exercise and a bunch of time on stretching and all that stuff, I kind of work it all in together. So the movements that I teach now are, to answer your previous question, are movements that involve both range of motion and strengthening at the same time. And I found it for myself because I'm a former power lifter. So I've let go of all the squats and all. I do different forms of squats now, different forms of everything, but everything's been modified. And I'll put my movements now. I was just talking to a 40-year-old guy in Ireland, and he's training the same way I'm training right now. And I go, you're not going to let this go, even when your back is feeling better, because the way you're training now is going to make you better in the sports you want to do. And that's the hardest part, Elana, is that the coaches, and I've got a call being set up with a high school catcher who's a junior. And because I needed his parents to buy in to what I was going to do, because it wasn't going to work, because he was still doing the standard bodybuilding exercises, which are fine and dandy, but not
right.
Because he got it off the internet. But if he was going to do my program, he was going to have to buy in. So he was referred to by my brother. He's my brother's nephew, by the way. Yeah. And so I talked to my brother. I said, look, I'm not going to do this unless there's buy-in, because I'm not doing Band-Aid therapy. I'm not somebody come to me, fix my shoulder, and then go back to what you were doing before. No, we're not doing that, because then I get blamed for it. I used to work with professional golfers a lot, even though I got them better. I never touched their swing, by the way. And then I was the guy that would get blamed. Let me know if you have to cut off. And I was the guy that would get blamed if my golfer wasn't playing well, even though I knew what they were doing in their private life, which was hurting their golf game, and in their physical life, they were doing really good because they were pain-free, because they would always hire me for wrist pain or elbow pain or shoulder or that's where I learned a lot about backwards walking for hamstring injuries and ACL injuries, which are very common with golfers because of the rotation on the knee. But it was the personal stuff that was getting in trouble. But they're going to blame the strength guy because the strength guy is new.
They don't want to take
it. New. We don't understand the strength stuff. Get rid of that. So either way, if there is that buy-in, like what you're getting with your seniors, I already know. I don't care where I go in the world. If anybody buys into the right kind of strength training, the right kind of nutrition, I already know they're going to get better. Done deal. Okay. And you add on top of that some mental work, some spiritual work, and you've got yourself dynamite, ready to go. But the problem is we're not doing that. We're not doing it consistently. So when you're showing up and you see people showing up consistently, the handful, the 10% that show up to your programs consistently will get better, 100% guaranteed. The other ones, it's a crapshoot. They might get better, they might not. That's the sad part is that how do we, this is my question to you, because this blows your business up. You figure out a way, and I already know how to do it. You figure out a way to increase your 10% to 20% or 25%, and your business blows up, because that's the key. How do you get to those that 15% to get to 25%, just 25% of the people in their 70s and 80s and 90s that want to participate again? Your business goes out of control. So there you are.
Well, I just want to, we got to wrap things up, but just wanted to thank you so much for showing up, being present, being here. I just wanted to reintroduce once again. Thank you, Arnie, Pain-Free Coach, 90-Day Get Long and Strong System, 602-390-9144. He is amazing, and I'm so blessed to have you on here. Thank you so much.
Can I say one thing real quick?
Yes, please.
I want to tell anybody that's listening right now, give me a call, 602-390-9144. I'll sit down with you. I'll talk to you. I'll put you in the right direction. If I can help you, that'd be great. But don't be afraid to pick up the phone and give me a call.
Yes, don't be afraid to ask for help. I'm Elana with ef11ca@gmail.com, 562-235-8410, yourhealthvibes.com. Give me a call, reach out. I am here for you. I honor you. I see you. I love you. Thank you for being here.